Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This week, the trip went on a trip, and we're discussing anxiety triggers during travel. Live from the Bob Varley studio in Orlando, Florida, you're watching The Trip. This is The Trip, episode 11 for the week of April, whatever today is, 2015. The Trip is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect vacation, whether it be theme parks on the West Coast, East Coast, or on the seas. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. I'm so confused.
Whatever
right now.
the day is.
What is
Earth
today?
Day.
Is it actually?
It's my niece Chrissy's birthday.
Happy birthday, Chrissy.
She doesn't know what we're doing in this world. She's in a different world.
I don't think I know either.
I don't think you do
I don't know what today is. We're a little bit off today.
22nd, April 22nd.
Oh, it is Earth Day then, isn't it?
Well, that's why I said that.
Okay.
Would I lie?
I wasn't sure. Now that we've got that straight, we're a little bit off today because we skipped last week. And we're suffering from what seemed to be the bubonic plague. We're all over it now.
Yes.
And trying to move forward.
On the road to recovery.
Yes. So anyway, as we mentioned before, or did not mention before, but welcome to The Trip, a little show about something we all love called vacation. And I'm Jenny Lynn.
And I'm Teresa. And back in the Nook, we've got the assistant producer. Is that what he's called now?
I don't.
What is your title?
Assistant producer. We're going to call him that today because he's producing for
Contributor,
us.
maybe? I don't know.
He's the man in pink.
He's the cute little chubby rhino behind the counter. Yeah. So anyway, we've got some exciting things to talk about. We're going to be discussing anxiety triggers, and we'll be giving you a dining review from a trip that Teresa and I took a couple weeks ago to Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
It'll be good to talk about it.
We've got lots to cover, so let's get on with it. We have a few things we wanted to address first. One was someone called us out on YouTube, and they told us that Red Lobster is no longer a Darden restaurant. So I thought we should go back and correct that. Sorry, everyone, for telling you that Red Lobster...
Called us out. Gosh, that sounds like it was something
we
big.
Apparently are not...
Switchblades.
We are not up on our current events. Red Lobster has been sold. Darden no longer owns it. Yard House is in that family.
Cool. Changes my world. Okay, what's next?
We also got some email, which was kind of exciting.
Some or one?
Two. People are writing to us.
What are they saying?
Okay, well, the first one
Don't say it if it's bad.
It's not bad.
Okay.
It's not bad, but there are things that we probably should talk about.
Okay.
The first one was from Marilyn, and she wanted to know if we had been able to secure our places in the 5K at the Animal Kingdom like we were planning.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that. I was there at my desk with all the pertinent information ready to sign. I mean, I could not get through, and it was like right at the 12 o'clock time. So, no, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Is she from Maryland, or her name
is Marilyn?
From Maryland. We have Maryland.
Marilyn from somewhere, unbeknownst to us.
But no, we are not.
No. We didn't make it in. We didn't make the cut. I was in Disneyland and was not able to get right on the computer at the time that registration opened.
I was there, and I was
there.
shocked. It filled up so quickly, and there was no way it even... And it wasn't just me not getting in. A lot of people were there right on the spot, and it didn't happen, so...
Yeah, we were...
So I need to camp out next time, I guess, at my desk.
Yeah, we were excluded, so we will not be in that 5K as originally planned. I guess we'll be having to come up with Plan B.
I think we need to plan a virtual walk.
What does that mean?
Where we pick a date and we're all walking in our own little space where we can at home, but we're walking together.
I like that idea.
Cool?
We should organize this.
Yeah.
Okay. Good thought. We'll come back to that. All right. The next one was from Steve O'Toole, who had, I thought was a pretty good question. I thought we should read it in case there were other people out there with the same question. He said, I have to say that I've just been watching the last episode of The Trip on YouTube, and I have a few questions for yourself and Teresa. I found the podcast on social media very interesting. I have to say I struggle a great deal on any social media sites. He says he has an issue. And that is, in the past few weeks, he's been tempted to friend request us because he finds our podcast very interesting. He says his dilemma is due to it seeming a little bit weird for a man to request a friend on Facebook, because we had been talking about, there's guidelines and sort of an etiquette. So he was a little bit confused about whether it was okay to friend request us.
Okay. I don't think it's odd, do you? Unless he's going to shoot us some odd pictures or something,
No, I actually think that it's fine, and I thought that's why we should maybe address it. If there's
We're all
anybody
adults
out there that wants to friend request Teresa and I, we are both on Facebook, and we're very nice people.
We're on board with it.
We accept friend requests. Just make sure that you're nice to us.
We're all adults.
Yeah.
It would be kind of weird if he was asking to friend my 13-year-old. No, I would be freaky.
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
not okay.
That's different. But
yeah.
But I'll go for it.
We're good, yeah, and very friendly. So,
Steve, we're waiting.
That's right. Hit us up on Facebook.
You have 10 minutes to request my friendship.
That was all of kind of like the housekeeping that we needed to cover. But you know what? I have an issue.
Yeah, you do. What is it?
I'm waiting for the cue music right now.
We don't have that today.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you have to sing
sorry.
it. Go ahead.
Does it go like the theme song? I forgot.
Wait, so now I have to.
Here, I'll make one. I'll make a song up. Issue. JL has an
She's got an issue.
That was.
She always does.
I do. That was lovely, guys. Wait, are we going to not have one for Trip Talk too? Okay, so then I'll be prepared next time around, and rather than have this big build up to come to nothing. Okay.
We sang. What can you want? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Okay, so the issue is.
Tell us.
My dear grandfather, who I love so very much, he's my favorite, is turning 95. Grandpa Ernie.
Oh, wow.
And
Grandpa
Ernie is turning 95. And something that he would like to do for his birthday is to take our family on a cruise, my extended family. So my aunts, my uncles, my parents, my cousins,
that's nice.
My cousins' children, my children. Yeah, it'll be quite a group, 20 plus people. Depending on how many want to go, could be up to 30, I think. And that sounds like a really lovely thing, right?
It does.
But my family's a little bit complicated and dramatic. And we're having trouble even just getting out of the gate. So they've appointed me, sort of, as the organizer of this. Originally, Uncle Rodney was, but then it got handed over to me. And already we're having drama. We can't decide on an itinerary for this cruise. We can't decide on a cruise line. We can't even decide on whether it's a cruise, because that was recently thrown into the works. Maybe we shouldn't go on a cruise at all. Maybe we should do something else.
Just go to Grandpa's house and with cake.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. So anyway, I've been really frustrated by this because I'm supposed to be putting this thing in motion, and I can't get everyone to come together and agree and give me their information, especially for going on a cruise, because you have to know things like ages, addresses, full names, who's going to be in whose room, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm finding this situation really, really frustrating. And then they're kind of like getting irritated with me. Already, my step grandmother, Grandma Jo, she can be a little condescending
Grandma
at times.
Jo.
Yeah. And so when we're talking about the cruise and the options, and she's like, well, you need to remember this and this and this and this, because after all, it is your grandfather's birthday. Yes, Grandma Jo, I understand that. And I'm trying to get this thing moving. It's an issue.
I imagine it is, but here's the dealio.
Okay.
First, I think you need to help, and you need help with a travel agent.
Okay.
I'm not saying this just to plug Dreams or myself, but they do help you corral everything and get everything in order. I think you need to find a date where it agrees on everybody, and then everybody agrees on, and then I think you would decide if it's going to be a cruise or a stay at Walt Disney World or a stay at a condo at a beach or wherever your family wants to stay. I think a cruise is a great idea because it's
Yeah.
going to get everybody away from their everyday life, and it's going to force you all to be together as a family in
Yeah.
a contained space.
Because you can't get off the boat.
You can't get off the boat. And I think that helps. I have a lot of clients who they do this as family, 6, 7, 8 staterooms together. And you don't all have to be lined up on the same side of the ship. You can be all over the ship because you'll meet together for dinner or see each other as you come and go throughout the ship and throughout the trip. I don't know. I would go with what Grandpa wants to do if he decided he wants to do a cruise.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of an issue with that as well because I'm being told by Uncle Rodney, Grandpa doesn't want to go to the Bahamas, and then Grandma Joe tells me that Grandpa does want to go to the Bahamas. Grandpa just needs to tell me, I guess. I just need
Have
to
you
talk
talked to Grandpa?
Not directly.
Okay, well, skip
It's a little
these-
bit hard to talk to him on the phone because he's 95, and it's the hearing issue is a little.
Is he
bit
here
difficult.
local? Is he in Florida?
Boca? So no, I mean I can't just
Okay,
drive
you
to
can't
his
just drive
house.
over there and see him. Yeah, okay. Well, I would bypass Grandma Joe and try to go straight to Grandpa because it's
Grandpa
his
Ernie.
birthday. Yeah,
Yeah.
find out what Ernie wants.
All right.
And then, and if he wants everybody to go, then just start, preliminary, write down a list of the people. And they're, like you said, you got to have names. Ages are for an exact quote.
Mm-hmm.
You need ages, especially of the children. Find a date, and a time frame. How long do you want this to be? Do you want it to be a 3-day event, or do you want it to be a 7-day blowout?
Yep, I'm gonna have to get to that. It's kind of stressful, but you've been really good about this. These are some really good pieces of advice. Thanks, Tess.
Okay.
Maybe you can help us with the rest of them because we're about to get into Trip Talk, where we're going to be talking about 10 travel triggers that trip you up.
Did you write that?
Did I? I did.
Okay,
wrote
trip
it.
talk. We need some music.
It's a trip talk.
Trippy,
so
trippy,
great.
trippy talk. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Oh, wow. All right. So, number
What-
10.
I was inventing lyrics. We're taking a trip and we're gonna talk about it.
Oh my.
It's trip talk.
We should record
Okay.
these.
Every week it should be a new theme song.
Get
As long
on
as
that
that one
right
never
now.
comes back. We're good. It's a trip.
It's a trip on the trip talk.
I love this country twang.
I don't know
Really?
where
What
it
is that,
came
the-
from. I watched a Goofy movie recently, and it makes me think of the Out on the Open Road song that Goofy's singing to Max. So that's all I was like, I want the trip to be like, out on the open road. Okay, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
Wow. You're done. I was enjoying
I
that.
think this is stressing me out.
just started
okay.
Taking a
sweating.
trip with Max? Oh,
His
Max.
son, Max
oh,
Goof.
oh, yeah.
Max on the Goofy movie.
Oh, I love that. They go like fishing and they're like car. Oh, that's a good one.
It is a good one.
It was the 20th anniversary, if you want to feel real old. It was the 20th anniversary last week.
Oh, I believe it. Because Max, my Max, and I used to watch that on VHS when he was like a little kid.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he would dress up like Max. And,
Oh,
That's actually
was-
really, really cute.
oh gosh, you guys are going to make me cry.
Okay,
20
okay.
years. Oh my
All
God.
right, back
okay,
on
okay.
track. Back on track. Okay.
Back on track, back on track. Okay.
Or we'll never get through this episode. Number 10. What to pack. That's something that always stresses me out. I have a problem where I seem to either overpack or I underpack.
When have you ever underpacked that I've ever been with you?
Do you remember when we went to Canada and I didn't have clothes that were warm enough? And I
do
was
remember
freezing
that.
the whole time.
Those
I
were good
couldn't.
times. I remember that.
I was cold the entire trip.
Yeah.
I underpacked for that one. And then to compensate for that, when we went on the following trip, which was, I don't remember what the next one was. Was it Indy?
Mm-hmm.
I think I overpacked.
That was a quick one. And you overpacked.
I overpacked. It was just a very
Yeah.
short
It's
trip,
hard.
and I
It's-
packed
It's hard to know.
so much stuff.
It's not really hard to know. I guess it just takes. Sometimes I think I overthink my packing, because you want at least one outfit for every function, or one outfit for every day. Sometimes two. I mean, you try to. Okay, so I can wear a pair of jeans twice, but you can't wear the same shirt twice. Is there going to be a place to do laundry if it's a long trip? This last trip we went on, I packed so light.
She did, folks.
But I'm going to go lighter on the next one.
Oh, we need to kind of talk about that. A lot of the things we'll be talking about today. We went on a trip to Richmond here recently.
It was a 2-night, 3-day.
Yeah, we had a great time to visit Richmond. Specifically, Shockoe Bottom was a lot of where this all focused. Right?
We had several of the events there, but Richmond itself and the whole. It was a Diz meet to raise money for Give Kids the World, and we decided we were going to kind of pay attention to our preparation and the whole trip, because we don't really think about it. We just do it.
Right.
But there were several points during this trip that I was stressed out on that I normally wouldn't be, but I never thought about these things happening that would stress me out.
Well, packing wasn't one of them. You packed really
I
lightly.
packed very light.
She didn't even have to check in a bag.
And I took a tiny little bag. I'd sent my normal bag that I always roll on, the regular normal size you see everybody with. I'd sent that off to Europe with Max. So 2 days before the trip, I realized I didn't have a carry-on bag. So I, rushed off to the store. I had to go purchase a new one. Oh, that was so horrible. But I did, and I purchased a small one, which was very little. It was like half the size. My laptop just fit flat in it. That's how big, the actual suitcase was around. But I just wore a pair of pants, took one other, of course, lots of panties and bras, all those things you need lots of, and one other pair of jeans and one other pair of shoes, and some extra shirts, but I had no extra.
So talk me through this a little bit, because this is something that I get stressed out about every time, regardless. Every time we go on a trip.
I even took a jacket and I didn't use it.
I am still stressed about, am I packing too much? Am I packing too little? Do I have room for souvenirs?
I'm a list maker. Do you make a list?
No. So you make a list.
I'm kind of anal. I start out with, here's the days of the week that I'm going to be gone, starting with the day I'm traveling. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The 4 days were involved on this last trip. No, Monday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday were the only 3 days involved on this trip. And I write down what I'm going to wear, and then I write down like a shirt for each day. If there's going to be more than one function in the day, I try to bring an extra shirt just in case, because something could happen. Somebody could run towards me and trip and throw chocolate sauce all over me. I don't know. You never know what's going to happen, right? So you got to be prepared for that. So I had one extra shirt, and then I threw in my extra shoes, which on this next trip I'm not taking an extra pair of shoes. I've decided I'm going one because it's just a weekend.
Okay. So this list making, you basically stick with clothes. Do you anything else?
Things for work that I need. I knew I needed to bring my laptop. I did not bring my big iPad because I took the mini for the plane, but then I never even pulled it out and used it.
Yeah. I
thought I was going to, but I didn't, because it was such a short flight. So that you got to think of how long your flight is, and if you have delays, you might need more things to entertain yourself, or, oh, heaven forbid, talk to someone else, while you're in the airport, which I like to do anyway. I like to people watch. But I always take a book or buy a book for the trip. I don't know. I just pack light, and I never take full-size bath products with me. Do you? I think
no,
it seems like
I usually use whatever's in the hotel room, because
Yeah, but you still bring you. I'm not going to criticize or anything because we shared a room, but you have a lot of product that you take with you.
I do. Well, I have my makeup, and then I have my hair stuff. I do bring a full can of hairspray. That's not a travel size.
So, yeah.
And I've got my gels, and if I'm going to have my hair be curly, I have to have my kinky curl gel, and if I'm going to have it be straight, I have to get my straightener.
Okay, you just need to decide, am I going to be... Oh, I can't say that.
It's not a decision, Teresa.
Is your hair going to be straight, or is it going to be kinky for the weekend?
Some of us just grew up with curly hair, Teresa.
You're wanting to know if I'm going to be straight or kinky. Is that what you're asking?
I don't know. I try to, and I always, all my products go into smaller containers, especially if I'm not checking a bag, because I don't want to hassle with it.
Yeah. Well, all right. So you're saying checklist helps with the anxiety issue in that one.
It does. Checklist
and then
for sure.
Also minimizing what you have.
And
so
have
like
your little
products and things, getting them travel
and have
sized.
them all ready to go.
Okay.
Have it a separate set, so you don't have to be digging through your vanity and all of your tchotchkes to find your stuff.
Yeah, see, that's what I always do. I have to always dig through everything. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay.
Just always keep it ready to go.
All right, number 9, traveling alone versus traveling with others. Both have different types of anxiety triggers to them. Traveling alone is actually the more stressful way to travel for me. I
Is
get
it?
serious anxiety when I'm alone because I'm afraid I'm going to get lost or I'm not going to know what to do, and then there'll be no one to help me. I just get so like overwhelmed by the idea of somehow being stranded or in trouble and not having
Oh, bless your
anyone
heart.
around to help
Bless
me.
your heart. That's so
It's sad.
scary.
It's sad and pathetic.
It's flipped for me. Traveling alone is freedom because you don't have to worry about if somebody's got to go potty or you got to wait for them, or
If they're hungry.
or no one's,
what
you don't
they
have
want to do versus what you want to do.
right, or what you want to eat, what they want to eat. Traveling alone to me is more freedom than traveling with people. Traveling with family is different than traveling with like coworkers. When we travel together, or friends, it's a totally different vibe too. So that can be stressful, especially if you have to meet up at certain times or be at a certain place at a certain time. That to me can be stressful.
Yeah.
But the actual traveling itself, no, I don't have any problem with that usually.
Well, something that I think has helped me, it's only been a few times that I've kind of had to travel alone. Usually we're on the same flights, but there's been once or twice where I've been on different planes than everyone else, and I just meet you guys when we get there. And it helps me during those times if I'm actually staying in contact with people, even though I'm actually alone. So you'll find me on Facebook a lot, or
Right.
texting with somebody, or playing a game on an app or something like that. That helps me kind of like feel like I have contact with somebody, that if I actually really was in trouble and needed help,
Right.
somebody would know what was going on and could help me. But how do you deal with you're the other half of it? How do you deal with that stress of traveling with people?
I usually just, communication is the big thing. You want to know, and you kind of need to know if you're traveling with coworkers or friends or whatever. You need to all kind of be on the same page as to what you're doing, so travel is smooth and you don't have any issues. If I'm traveling with family, it's a whole nother ballpark. I'm not so much stressed now as when the kids were little. Traveling on a plane with little kids was more stressful because you have to worry about, their comfort, and especially tiny children, little kids crying, and like on that one flight we had
Their
that baby
comfort,
behind
and
us.
then also whether they're going to be imposing on other people's
Right,
comfort, right?
Right, and that stressed me out a lot.
Yeah.
Being on a plane with baby Max, and it was his first flight, and he screamed like a banshee the whole time because his ears were hurting him. That was the most stressful flight I think I've ever been on, and it was stressful because I knew he was in pain and he was not
Yeah.
happy.
No, I actually think that in those situations, it's more stressful for the parent than anyone else. Even more stressful than the child, more stressful than the people that have to keep up with hearing the
Listening
noise.
to
That
it,
it's
yeah.
not your child. You're the one that's feeling stressed because you're feeling guilty that your child's in pain. At the same time, you're feeling guilty that everyone else is miserable because of your situation.
Of your screaming child.
Yeah.
So, on the flip side of that, if I'm on a plane or traveling and there's an upset child, whether it be in a park, in a restaurant, on a plane, I do not let that bother me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say I reach out to the parents, but I want them to know that I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
It's good.
Don't be stressed on my
whether
account.
it's they're pitching a fit or screaming because they're spoiled, or because they have an issue of some kind, or sensitivity issue, whatever it may be. I don't want to make it doesn't bother me. I just zone it out. And the people that it upsets, those are the people that I get pissed at, because I said it anyway. because
it's a running word for you on every episode.
because those people just tick me off,
Yeah.
and I just want to kick them with
They
my
need to
big
be a little
purple
bit more
shoe.
understanding. I don't
Yeah.
like it when they kick my chair, though.
Kids,
I draw the line at that.
that doesn't bother me either. I just hurt them in other ways. Go ahead.
Okay, so number 8, renting or driving a rental car. And we had a very interesting experience with this in Richmond.
We rented a vehicle.
Tess was a little bit stressed about it.
I was okay renting. The renting part was fine.
Yes,
The whole thing.
You had that
It's-
completely under control.
I'm cool with that. Pick up the car, no problem. It's when we get in the car and I look down at the control panel and it's different from any car that I've driven. I drive an
Yes.
old car. My car is all, simplified. There's a gear shift. There's all these normal, and I get in this new, George Jetson car, and there is no gear shift.
Well, there is anxiety to being put in a situation where you're expected to drive comfortably a vehicle that you are not familiar with at all in a place that you're not familiar with at all.
I like to make sure you
Is
take
this
time.
the photo of your? I'm gonna pull it up here. Okay.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes. Okay, so explain
That's
what
a
was
weird little
happening
knob
here.
there.
See the little knob?
Yeah, and there's like a handle. What kind of car was this?
It's a great question. I don't remember.
I have no idea.
I do not remember it at all, but it was really
Mid-size,
funny because
4-door.
we got in, and immediately Tess was like, "I don't even know how to put this thing into gear," and it was just like this.
And then we see this little
moment of-
knob.
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out, and then we see the knob, and you're supposed to shift gears with the knob.
And
this
it
was a new
turns,
concept.
it turns so easily, just like you're changing the radio station.
Oh,
and it's
weird.
right there by the air vent and everything. So
It's like, are you turning up the volume to the radio, or are you going
are you
into
shifting
reverse?
gears?
Or are
And
you
there
going
was-
to be shifting into
And it
reverse?
was so smooth and there was no noise. So I had to have
Yes.
I came up with a sound that I made when I changed it
just to make yourself feel comfortable.
to lower my stress level. Every time I put it in a different
Because
gear.
she wasn't sure if the car was actually on or not. The
It was
motor
like,
was so quiet. There was also
you know.
this, and then there was the camera that showed the back of the vehicle so that you could see what was behind you while you were backing up,
Yes, and I
but without looking backwards.
in that
You did not
instance-
like that.
No, you have to look back. I'm not going to trust the little camera. Are you supposed to? Would you?
Well, I think I don't know. My
don't-
car doesn't have it.
I don't know if legally you can, because I mean, that's one of the big things I remember from driver's ed was like you had to be turned around the
Yes.
entire time while you were backing up until the car came to a complete stop, and then you turned around.
Okay, well now there's this car had this camera where it showed
On a screen.
I've seen them.
on a screen.
yeah.
So I'm going, okay, I'm not watching that because
It beeps
Yeah,
when you get
she
too
was
close
not
to
happy
something
about
well, I
too.
never got
like
too
it-
close to anything.
Okay.
I never heard it beep.
No. Yeah, no, we didn't. Oh,
No.
there would have been a beeping thing.
That's
Interesting.
what he said.
There's like lines, so it makes like a on the screen, and these will be like the yellow part, and then I'm sorry,
Yeah, there were
it'll be
yellow and
green,
red lines.
yellow, and then this is red, and the red stuff is the stuff you're in danger of like hitting. So it like keeps you on a trajectory too. So if you can look at the camera, technically, if you keep the lines like in framed the way they're supposed to be, you'd be able to back up without turning around. But then if you run somebody over, I feel like in a court of law, like they're going to be like, that person backed up and they didn't turn around.
They weren't turned around.
Yeah. And
It's like-
so I don't know how that works.
It's like landing a plane. I realize they do it like that, but I'm not going to back up like that.
I know, it was kind of
So that
stressing you
kind of,
out.
I just forgot the
Well,
little.
I think that
didn't
you
pay
did what
attention to it.
was best as far as like trying to work through that anxiety. You just kind of like
Lots of
talked
screaming,
and yelled
yeah.
your way through it, and we all got some good laughs.
I do talk a lot in a car when I'm driving, and I do have colorful things to say, but that is my way of relieving stress. If I was
Yeah.
sitting there totally quiet, then some crap's wrong. Because I gotta talk my way through the whole, and I don't do that normally on a regular basis in my car.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, I do,
And
but not so bad.
I guess it's at that point. It's probably different for different people. Some people might need it to be completely quiet, with no distraction,
Right.
in order to make it the least stressful situation as possible. Some people might need to listen to music, whatever the case may be. It's definitely an anxiety trigger, and I guess everyone has to kind of figure
It
out.
is, and when the people in the back seat talk a lot, and you're trying to listen to
The GPS.
the GPS, yeah, that kind of stresses me out. a
Yeah,
little bit.
that does, doesn't it?
That kinda
we had a
stressed
few
me.
situations with that as
where I
well.
had to,
Also, we didn't talk about this as far as like renting a car. Like you were like, oh, I've got this, at the counter, everything was fine. That would be the part that I would have anxiety about. Do I have everything I need? Do I have my credit card, my ID? Like I would tend to worry about not being prepared for whatever it was that they were going to ask of me when I got to the counter. So since you're not stressed out about that, what are the things, can you give me like a quick summary? Like what are the things that you need when you're renting a car?
well, first you need to make sure you rent a car ahead of time if you need one.
So you
Don't
need to
wait till the
reserve
last
it.
minute, reserve a car. I always have my confirmation number with me. I always print out the confirmation email, but I have never, hardly ever lately had to pull it out.
Okay.
You just walk up and just tell them your name. And I always have the credit card I'm going to use
And you
my
do
driver's
have
license.
to have a credit card in order to rent a
Yes.
car, right?
Yes.
You can't rent a car unless you have a credit card.
Well,
Can you use your debit card?
you can use, some rental places you can use a debit card, but just remember they're going to put a hold on your funds
okay.
until you return that car, and then maybe a few days after. So it's going to lock up your money. So I would use a
So
credit card.
some can use a debit card, but not. I don't think all of them do. 'Cause
No.
Some of them do not. Some of them it has to be
Right.
a credit card.
And also keep in mind when you return the car, you don't have to keep it on that form of payment. You can hold it on the credit card, and when you come back, pay with cash or your debit card, or or keep it on
And
there.
am I correct? You have to be 25 in order to rent one.
Not everywhere.
No,
No?
not everywhere.
Okay, so I'm not correct.
Actually, the state of Florida is one of the few places you don't have to be 25, I don't think, to rent a car here. I remember when I came down when I was like 21 or something like that. It's a little bit younger here.
It is.
Okay.
I can't remember what it is, but I know Max can rent a car now, and he couldn't, and he's not 25 yet.
Okay.
So also keep in mind that make that decision if you're going to use your insurance, or if you're going to buy their insurance.
Get their insurance.
Well, first of all, Eli has to always rent the car because I don't have a credit card. But we've never used the car insurance because in our plan, there's so that's another thing. Like, check your insurance plan
Right.
because you could be covered. Like, you could have your own insurance plan that already covers you for
Already
this sort of a
covers rentals.
process.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So always check that. It depends on what type of trip I'm on. If I am on a business trip, I usually take the insurance because my car is usually in use by someone else at home while I'm gone. So I just feel more comfortable that way. If I'm going on a vacation, I don't. I mean, it just depends. And it depends on who I rent from, too.
And I think maybe one of the ways to reduce anxiety concerning all of this is when you call to make the reservation for the car in the first place, is
Or
to
go
make sure that
online.
you find out at that point what is expected of you before you even get there.
Yeah. They make it so simple. Just walk up, have your driver's license, your credit card, hand it to them, and it's a done deal. They hand you the keys to the car, tell you where to go to pick it up. So
All right.
that's pretty stress-free, I think. It can be.
Number 7. We
What's
have
number
an interesting
7?
story for this one. Who you will end up sitting next to in transport. Has anybody here ever felt anxiety as you're sitting there on the plane and you're like, I've got this empty seat next to me? Anything could happen. And sometimes that is exactly what happens, as you found out.
I did. Have you heard this story, Rhino? What happened to us on this trip?
No.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. All right. So we had to switch planes. We went to Orlando to Atlanta. We switched planes and then went from Atlanta to Richmond. So it was a fairly simple, go to the next plane. I get on the plane, and usually we all sit near each other when we're traveling. Mm-hmm. On this flight, you and Kathy were one across the aisle, one row back from me. And I was exit row, 2-seater. It was me and one other person. And she was already there when I got on the plane. And I said hello.
Wait, was she aisle or window? Is that relevant?
I was window.
Okay.
She was aisle.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a jump seat across from us where the stewardess was going to sit. Okay? 'Cause we had the wide.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's sitting there, and the first thing she said to me was, I just need to tell you
Oh, no.
that I just got off
Exactly.
of a very bumpy flight from Nebraska, I think it was, and I'm not feeling well. And in her hands are damp paper towels, and then the
bag.
And she had a bottle of water too, and her little neck roll pillow, and she did look really, really pale. And I said, okay, thank you, and it was a full flight. Mm-hmm. So I sat down, and there was not a time during that flight that she was not getting ill.
Oh, no.
She
went through
spent-
everybody's barf bag.
Yeah.
No.
And Teresa
That poor
stayed by
lady.
her the entire time. I was texting Teresa, get out of the line of fire, come sit next to us, talk to the stewardess. But Tess stayed with her.
I felt bad for her. I knew it wasn't anything I could catch. It was just motion sickness,
Yeah.
whatever.
I suffer from motion sickness.
So, but I'd never seen it that close up, full force. And I
And
sat
that- for that
sideways, kind of leaning towards the window.
Noise canceling headphones, I hope.
I know.
No,
I
but
couldn't. I would have
see,
started puking as well.
The
I couldn't have
smell
done it.
did not. I smelled nothing. It was wafting your way.
Yes, I
Oh
caught.
God, you could smell it.
I could. Yes, I could get whiffs of it on the other aisle. For whatever reason, it went. It flew in my direction.
It went your way. I just got the sound effects, which
That
it
that
was-
would make me puke.
It was
just
bag after bag, and
Oh.
the stewardess, flight attendant would walk by and take the bag, and then she'd get another one, and it just never ended. So then come time to serve our snackage and our drinks, and I'm thinking, well, I can't eat sitting next to this, right? There's no way I'm going to sit here and have some pretzels and Dr. Pepper ain't going to happen. So they had given her some ginger ale. Well, at one point, she stood up, and we're on that row where the tray comes out of the arm and it rests in front of you. Well, if it rests really close to you, there was no way to get away from it. So she had folded her tray in half and was trying to get up to go to the restroom. So her ginger ale was sitting on her tray, and she squeezed past my tray and went to the restroom, ran back there, and then when she came back and she picked up her ginger ale just as there was a little bit and the ginger ale just flew my way.
Oh no!
So it was like, and then she was apologizing, and halfway through her apology, she had to turn and use another bag.
This poor lady.
I felt so bad for her. And
I feel bad for you
Get
too,
through a
but
sentence without puking. Seriously,
I
it
don't
was
think
out
I
of
would ever
control.
fly again if
But
that
the-
happened to me.
But I don't think I would either. But the worst part for her, and it just killed me, was takeoff and landing made her the ill. It wasn't.
Oh no!
So the whole time we're landing, she's like leaning into this little bag.
How did she not pass out?
I don't know.
I don't know
didn't
how
pass
we
out.
all didn't pass out. It was terrible.
And when we sat down, there was a couple with a baby behind me, which is right across from you.
He was golden.
He was a
I thought
golden
he
little
was going to be the
baby.
trouble on the flight. You didn't hear a peep out of this baby.
It was this Midwestern pale woman that just, I felt so bad. And then the stewardess was sitting there, flight attendant, whatever you want to call her. She's sitting there and she says, "I should have brought you a bigger bag." I said, "No, honey, you need to keep taking the debris
get it
away.
out of here,
Get it
yeah.
out of
We
here."
don't want to collect it in a big
Yeah, he wants a
container.
giant sloshing bag of chunks.
Okay. I'm cutting us
So,
off right here.
I had an issue.
Oh, yeah.
That was and I have never had that before. Normally on a plane, I don't really worry. My biggest worry about who's going to sit next to me is, are they going to be a bigger person like myself? And are we going to have trouble? And coming back on one of the flights, I sat next to a gentleman who he was of normal size. I mean, average size, whatever. And we didn't put the armrest down because we agreed among us. We had a little discussion
ourselves?
among ourselves. We had a little discussion that we were going to leave it up, and we were cool with that. Because when he sat down, I said, "I hope your thigh enjoys my thigh." And he just started laughing. And he's like, "Well, okay." Because there's no way away from it.
Yeah.
When you're back there where we sit.
Well, it sounds like you handle these very difficult situations with grace.
Well, what are you going to do?
Well, we should do what you do. However, what I was going to say is, like, everyone, I get anxiety about this. What if I'm not in a talkative mood and then I sit next to somebody who's just talking my ear off?
Yeah.
Or, vice versa. What if I'm in a talkative mood and the person sitting next to me doesn't have anything to do with me? It's kind of awkward. But the fact of life is
Nothing to do with you.
the fact of life is we're all going to run into people that sometimes we gel, sometimes we don't. In these types of situations, it's best to make the most of it. I don't know that you have to go to the extent that tested, but make the most of it. It's a short plane ride, 2
hours
of your life.
2 hours
or
of your life. If it's a
usually
short flight. If it's a longer
average.
flight,
Well,
I
but that's
would alter my plan a little
that
bit.
is what I was going to say. If it's actually a situation where you cannot bear it, like you should be. I should petition you for sainthood.
Airline should have given you something.
I would never have sat next to somebody who was puking for that many hours. I couldn't have. I would have been puking as well. So in that type of situation, just ask the stewardess to get you a new seat. If it's something that you
possible,
cannot, if you cannot deal with it, then just ask to be moved. But anyway, that's definitely an anxiety trigger. It certainly came into play on our trip to Richmond. All right, number 6 would be eating habits while you're traveling. I get anxiety about this.
Do you?
Yes.
I just throw
everything goes to the wind.
Everything
with you.
goes to the wind, and that's I within reason. I mean, I don't just, but I have certain ritual. I don't want to say it's rituals when I travel involving food.
Okay.
Like, I always have a little snack with me if I'm flying on the plane, because I'm not going to like them hard ass pretzels they give us.
That just happened.
Sorry, they're disgusting little pretzels. You know, I'd rather have peanuts, but you always don't get peanuts. But anyway, I always have a little side snack of some kind.
So you have your comfort food with you.
I have, yeah. It might be something I just picked up at the airport. It doesn't have to be anything. It's not always the same thing, but I do like to have. And I always have usually a bottle of some beverage with me when I get on the plane, whether it be a Dr. Pepper. It's usually just water, because it never fails when we take off, and before they can get to the beverage thing down the aisle, I'm coughing, or I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I need a drink, you know. So I always have a little something with me just to, you know.
That's probably a good thought. So you bring stuff with you to keep your eating routine intact as much as possible.
Right.
I think that's where I'm getting anxiety, is because we go on these trips and it becomes difficult for me to keep my routine. Not that I have much of one in the first place, but the little one that I have gets really thrown off. I find myself eating things that I don't normally eat, then I don't feel good, or I get bloated, or whatever it is. It's just really unpleasant.
Or you can't get to food. I mean,
or you can't
quickly
get to
enough,
food,
because when you get off
or
a plane,
drink.
if you're trying to make a connection, or trying to rent your car and get to where you need to be, or get in a car or whatever, you might
Sometimes
not be
you
able
gotta
to
move,
eat lunch,
which we had to do
Yeah.
because on the puking flight, we were all delayed in getting back to the next airport, and we had planned to stop to eat dinner in between our flights, and we never got a chance to do that because our flight was late getting in, and then we had to haul it to the next plane in order to
that
get
was
there
the
on
return.
time.
Yeah, the return. Yeah.
In order to get to the next plane, and dinner just went out the window. So what you're saying is actually a really good recommendation. And while we're talking about eating, we were going to kind of have an intermission at this point to tell you a little bit about Richmond. While we were there, we went to a restaurant and
Went to several restaurants.
Well, we did. One in particular, though, that we were going to do a quick dining review on, the Southern Railway Tap House. So we brought back the spatula people, the paddle people.
Sorry,
and we were not going to take as much time with this one as we have with the last one, as we did with Yard House. We were going to kind of blow through it pretty quickly, but we wanted to let you guys hear about it.
Because it was just the quirkiest, oddest.
It really was. And, and again, it's something that's outside of Florida, so why not? It has to do with travels. If you're in Richmond, you might want to know about this, right?
You might.
Okay, so a few facts about Southern Railway Tap House. First of all, it is located in Shockoe Bottom in downtown Richmond, Virginia, which we found very amusing. And they have a lot of beer there.
Well, it's a tap house. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So though they did have an extensive menu, I would say it's a bar.
It is. And they have 2 bars within their restaurant. The main feature is a bar. Most of the seating is at the bar counters. They do have other seating, but that's the primary purpose of this. Anyways, we ate there. So,
and this was an arranged
sure.
get together for a group of people.
Yes.
And I want to tell,
had a lot of people.
A lot of people were there, and atmosphere was awesome. I know maybe I'm getting ahead of it.
You are getting ahead of it.
Well, I'm going to just be throwing out some apologies here, I know. Because I don't want to.
Yeah, we want to give this context. This was not a regular, Tess and I ran out to a restaurant to eat by ourselves. We were in a group of, what was it, about 40 people?
30 maybe.
30 to 40 people. Yeah. So it was a huge group for the restaurant to accommodate. And like we said, it wasn't like a standard restaurant. It was primarily a tap house. But
and here's where humor comes into play, yes. And keeping a sense of humor and not letting this crap mess with you.
Okay. Parking. Let's go parking first. They had street and valet parking.
Do they have valet?
They did.
Okay.
Yeah, street and valet parking.
But we had parked a couple blocks away because we were there.
We actually walked there. For that reason, I wanted to give this one a smiley face. I thought that it was very easy to get to.
Yes.
Pedestrian-wise. It was a pleasant walk.
Awesome little area. Yeah, it was a pleasant walk. I
enjoyed it. We had gone on a boat ride. We got off the boat and we walked to the restaurant. Worked for me. Okay. Atmosphere. Would you like to describe it?
Atmosphere was, inside was It was an old building, old railroad house.
Very
right?
historical feel
Very
to it.
historical, very dark inside, lots of activity going on, lots of
Yeah.
Friday night activity. And it was
Yeah,
fun.
I'll say this. Okay, so when we described the yard house, we described that as industrial. But that was industrial in like a kind of modern sense of the word. This was industrial as in like literal, as in like you were in the basement of the Fight Club basement. That's what it felt like.
That how
to me.
you felt? To me, it felt like, because when I think of Richmond, I think of,
Was this picture I just showed from the inside? This one?
Well, that is, but that's not the picture that I wanted you to show. That doesn't describe.
where
the
was that? I never
industrialness.
even saw that.
That was the waiting area. We didn't see that because we didn't wait. We got seated immediately.
Oh, there's no other indoor
Okay, well, we
picture
went
here.
through and we went straight outside to a patio terrace area,
Yeah.
which I thought was very nice.
I am sorry about my voice, everybody.
You losing it? Need a drink of water?
This thing,
need to
Teresa?
Thanks. Yeah. No, I'm allergic to water.
Yes, that's the patio area where we
Okay.
sat.
There's no interior picture, so that's why I was
Okay,
confused.
well,
And you guys were like, it's a basement.
There has
I'm
got
like,
to be with the bars in it.
No,
All
okay.
right, so I guess Dustin didn't load this. All right,
Okay,
anyway.
that's fine. That's fine. So
Think Fight Club basement. It's just, the ground was all cement. The walls, there's not like pretty wallpaper or anything. It was nice, but it was industrial.
the whole time I was there, and I'm thinking of the atmosphere. I'm thinking of historical Richmond and how cool it was, and how all of the things that everything that corner has seen. There's ice in there.
I was like, why is this making noise?
Everything that corner has seen through history. That's what was running through me. It was, wow,
Yes.
how cool is this? What has passed on this street? What is, because it was like right down there on the river.
I agree.
So I thought that was cool.
Industrial, as in it actually went through the Industrial Revolution.
There you go. So that was cool. I give that a smiley. 'cause
Yeah, I
thought that
do
was
too.
cool. I
It
thought
was
cool.
it was cool, and I like Fight Club. Okay, cleanliness.
I thought it was clean.
I did too. It was pretty clean. I mean, cement floors were swept, and everybody was happy.
Dishes were clean. I got no problem with that. Okay.
Well, when
So-
they had dishes.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
So okay.
Smiling face.
Um,
Was it kid friendly?
it was Friday night, and it was a bar. No.
Yeah, I agree. So here's the official stance on it. It's kid friendly before 10 p.m. They don't allow children after 10 p.m. because it is
It's
a bar.
the Fight Club. It's the bar.
It's a bar. We were there before 10 p.m. though, so it would have been kid friendly hours, and yet there was not a single child.
We had a kid with us, I think.
Except for in our party, there was
Right,
not a
right.
single child. And they don't provide anything to entertain the children. So the kids are not going to get sat with coloring sheets and crayons or,
Okay.
little twisty ties. So kid friendly, not so
Yeah, don't bring your
much.
kids. Oh, my hair's falling out. Okay.
Okay, seating options.
Seating options, low tops, high tops, bar counter. We were outside.
They kind of had all of the above. Most of it was at the bar. There were some high tops and low tops inside the facility, just not a great deal. But there was a great space out there on the patio.
Yeah, it was
they could
nice.
seat a lot of
Had
people.
some twinkling lights when the.
It was very pleasant.
It was very
They
pleasant.
had the little lights hanging overhead. And do we have a picture of that again?
Yeah, he showed
Yes?
that, yeah.
The little twinkling lights were strung over you, and your tables were under cute little umbrellas, and it was nice. So
So
I
it was
liked
nice.
it.
Yeah, it was cool.
I'm giving that one a smiley.
Okay, yeah, I
smiley
like
face
that.
for seating options. Dress
fine, yeah.
code.
Anything, I would say.
It was anything goes.
Anything. There were bikers pulling up in their little biker shirts.
There were.
There were. They were interesting to watch. I
They were.
enjoyed that.
They were gangbangers.
Oh my.
Is that a term?
I wouldn't say that. I think they were maybe wannabe. I don't know.
They had little handkerchiefs in the back pocket.
Well, yeah, they were trying to be.
They were scary. It was all of the
I
above.
thought they were interesting. Okay, and there were after work people, and so it was a little bit of everything. So I think dress code was very lenient.
Yeah.
I don't think they would turn you away for anything in there.
No, but inside there were some people that were rather spruced up.
Okay.
It was cool, so I liked it. Smiley face for me.
Okay.
Wi-Fi friendly.
You say yes. You had to go to the hostess for the password.
Yes. So I did test this out. I did the thing is, you can't just like log in onto their Wi-Fi. You do have to ask for a password. They're very happy to give it to you. There's not a problem whatsoever. And it's not like I had to ask 20 people for the password. The first person I asked, yeah, I asked and it was understood what the password was, and it worked.
Okay.
Unlike at Yard House where I got on the Wi-Fi and it didn't work.
Okay, so you that one is Smiley.
Smiley.
I didn't use it, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Menu options.
It was a big menu. I thought it was a wide menu for
a bar.
For a bar. And when we first sat down, I was quite happy with that because there were lots of options, and I chose several options. Their drink choices. If you wanted a beer, you're good to go. If you want a mixed drink, you're good to go. No frozen drinks.
Yeah, this is where we ran into a little bit of difficulty. So Tess wanted to get an adult beverage. And she said, well, can I have a strawberry daiquiri?
Which is my first go-to beverage that I would choose. No.
The dude was like, nope, sorry.
And he was just like, no.
And he didn't offer any other options. He was just like, nope,
no frozen drinks.
That's it. We don't do frozen drinks.
So then I said, do you have Dr. Pepper?
Then
or
she
Mr.
wanted
Pibb?
a soda.
A soda. No, don't have that.
We don't have soda unless it's the soda that can be used in a cocktail drink.
Right.
So it was
like
like
a Coke or Sprite.
It was like 2 strikes, and we're all kind of like, what do you have to offer? Does this mean we all have to drink water or
right.
beer?
Yeah.
We
So
eventually
all got our beverages, and then
we did sodas that were, used in cocktail drinks, and
Yeah.
we made do. But it was kind of odd, I thought.
I thought that was odd.
Yeah.
Drinks, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
But the menu options, they had appetizers, entrees, salads, burgers, sandwiches, soups, pasta, and flatbreads. So the rest of the food was, you had some variety there. I'm still kind of going with that. I don't know. I just didn't like that whole no, we don't have this. No, we don't have this. No, we don't have this.
I gotta say, I thought it was our waiter, but then I spoke to someone that was at a different table, and the waitress we were wanting was doing the same kind of. Maybe it was training night at the tap. I don't know. But it was odd. It was different.
Well, we'll get to that in just a second. Special diet accommodations. They had them. But they weren't very apparent. So on the menu, it said that gluten-free and vegetarian options were available, but you had to specifically ask about them. They weren't going to be clearly indicated on the menu, which makes it a little bit more difficult to navigate, not so user-friendly for the person on a special, needs diet. So I'm kind of going with the frowny face. It sounds like they could accommodate it, but not making it more of a mainstream process. I'm not in favor of that. Okay, portion size.
It was good, adequate.
Plenty,
yeah.
Yeah, I felt full.
I didn't even eat half of mine, and I was full. Yeah.
Yeah. So smiley faces, you don't walk out of there hungry.
Right.
Service. Here's where it gets interesting, folks.
Oh Lord, Rhino, I don't even know where to begin with this.
Oh no.
All right, so our waiter, he comes to the table, and he was a nice, pleasant little boy.
He was.
He was nice.
He was pleasant.
Very nice, very somewhat polite. And we placed our order, and I got a couple appetizers for the table.
I got an appetizer, a soup, and an entree, or did I just get?
I don't remember what you got.
I don't remember. No. I just got the
You just
meal.
got
I
the
didn't
meal,
even.
'cause you
I
were
didn't
gonna
even
help
get
our
it.
appetizers.
That's right. I was sharing an
And
appetizer
then
with you.
Richard got an appetizer, Kathy got one, and Craig just got his meals because I had gotten 2 appetizers for the table.
Yeah.
And Richard had gotten 2 also. So we sat there. Out comes one appetizer of Richard's, and it sits at the table, right? Mm-hmm. And then nothing else happened.
Nothing else
happened. We're sitting there, and he doesn't want to start eating without us getting any food. So, and he got the same thing I got, the macaroni and cheese egg roll.
Yes.
Okay, and he also got pretzels, which were really good. So, and then all of a sudden, here comes a flurry of activity, and out comes Kathy's meal, Kathy's appetizers, Craig's meal, your meal, Richard's meal, and I'm sitting there with nothing.
Yes.
And we wait, right?
First, let's discuss Kathy's situation. Kathy's appetizer came out along with her food, right?
Right.
Which she was a little bit bothered by because she had been hungry the entire time, and her appetizer hadn't come out with the rest of the appetizers.
Well, mine hadn't come out either.
Well, yes, yours didn't. But some of them did, but hers didn't. So when she asked our waiter about it.
Wait, let me answer. Go. You be Kathy, and I'll be the waiter.
Okay. I don't remember exactly how she asked it, but basically the question was, is my appetizer coming? All right, why is it not here? And he was saying it was going to come out with the rest of the food in just a couple minutes. She was like, well, I was hungry. I wanted to eat my appetizer before the rest of the meal came. And he said,
you didn't tell me you wanted your appetizers first.
I'm sorry, what?
yeah, that happened. we
And
were
we
all
were
a little
speechless.
we were all a little stunned on that one. We were dumbstruck.
Yeah, it kind of threw us. And
It
but
did
what are you
throw
going to do?
us.
Sit there and laugh? I'm like, okay, well, can I just get my food then? Because I still hadn't had anything.
Meanwhile, when it all did finally come out, she still didn't have her drink.
I still didn't have my drink, and
No,
Kathy didn't have her drink, and I was still missing one appetizer. And the waiter brought out a hostess or someone to look at our table and to see if the appetizer I was missing was there. And he said, no, because Kathy and I had ordered the same thing, the fried goat cheese thing. And I heard him say to her, see, there's only one on the table. And then out comes the second appetizer, which I set between me and Craig, because Craig's I know was going to finish off whatever I don't eat. And he was ready for that anyway, because he was completely done with his food, completely before I even had any food.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
I mean, completely done. So it was a little odd.
It was. I think the thing that maybe was the most odd was this inability to acknowledge that the ball had been dropped.
Yeah.
It was constantly trying to be covered like, well, you didn't tell me that you wanted the appetizers out before the rest of
But
your
my
food.
favorite part of the whole meal that I found the best, and it just gave me a chuckle and it just made the evening for me, was when the dude with the tattoos, the waiter guy, came out, rushing out to the patio with purpose.
This was not our waiter.
It wasn't our waiter, just some guy we'd never seen
Somebody
before.
else.
Came rushing out with purpose, looking at each table as everyone was eating. And he came over to our table and he spotted Craig's plate that was empty. And he walked over and he says, "Are you done with that?" And Craig said, "Yes." And he took it. That's the only thing he took off out of the whole patio.
Even though there were others of us.
Even though
that
there was
had
everything else,
plates that needed
everybody
to
was
be
done. But he
cleared.
only took Craig's plate, and he took it back to the kitchen. And then he came back again, and I saw him looking at another table, and he picked out a different kind of plate.
I was going to say, was he looking for a specific plate?
was
He
looking
was.
for specific
He was looking
plates.
for specific plates because he needed them to fill other orders. And
They
we
were
forgot
running
to
out of
mention,
plates.
after you had your first beverage, every beverage after that came out in a plastic cup because they. And he actually said, "We're running out of glasses."
Yep.
Was it really busy?
No, it was just us and some
I
inside
think,
people.
well, here's what I think. In truth, the place was a fairly pleasant place. And
Oh, yeah.
a lot of the people that were in the same party with us had a great time. They were sitting at different tables with different servers and really enjoyed themselves. We
had a great time though.
Well, we had a great time, but we were laughing our way through it. But yes, I think that the problem was we were in such a large party and that establishment was not really prepped for handling that type of
I think the
group.
dishwasher didn't arrive on Friday night,
Maybe that's it too.
or the dishwasher broke. I don't know, because there is no way you would not have enough large square serving plates or rectangular appetizer plates, right?
Yeah.
You can't go with just 6 when you got that many tables. What if everybody orders the same thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They just weren't well equipped for our size of a party, I think. Whereas if, all of these people at one time hadn't come in and needed all
Yeah.
of those plates, they probably would have been okay.
And the dude with the mohawk was fun.
We had a great time, and I do want to emphasize this. We had a great time.
And the food was good.
The food was good. Well, we'll cover that next. Service-wise, though, honestly, I have to give this a frowny face. I cannot, in good conscience, give it a smiley face. But I do think that was under special circumstances of our party. So food. The food was good. Let's talk about the food.
Macaroni and double cheese egg roll. That was good while it was hot.
It was, and unique.
And
you
unique.
Don't hear
It's
about
macaroni
that,
and
right?
cheese and an egg roll fried.
Crispy fried egg roll filled with macaroni, sharp cheddar, pepper jack, tomato, and scallion served with bacon sour cream.
Was that what that was? It was good.
It was good.
Drunken pasta. You and I both had this.
We did. We ordered the same
It
thing.
lacked something for me.
It was, I felt like it was a bit on the bland side.
Once I
It
put
was
in
fine.
the
But
what was the other thing I had? The fried goat cheese. Once I put some of that in there and mixed it up, it was actually
Gave
good.
it a little bit more
Yeah.
flavor. So the drunken pasta was penne pasta in a slightly spicy vodka sauce made with Roma tomato, sweet onions, I can't say that word, prosciutto ham,
Prosciutto.
something, vodka and cream. And I guess you would just expect it. It looks good, right? It looks good.
Ooh, is that what it looked like?
Well, we were in weird lighting, but
Okay.
it looked
It was good. It was good. I
It was-
enjoyed it.
it was
a
fine.
big serve, big
It
portion.
wasn't like, I wasn't going to get up
Yeah.
and do cartwheels over
The
it.
fried goat cheese, hand-breaded goat cheese, and roasted red pepper, tomato coulier, and a balsamic drizzle. It was good.
You enjoyed that?
I enjoyed it, and Craig enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
And Craig had the bison meatloaf, which there was nothing left on his plate, so I'm going to assume he liked that.
Yeah.
The pretzel appetizer was very good.
Yeah.
Kathy had a portobello hamburger thingy, and I think she enjoyed it.
Yeah. And it was all for decent prices, too. So the macaroni and double cheese egg roll was $5. Drunken pasta was $10. Fried goat cheese was $8.
It was all very reasonable.
Very reasonably priced. The food was decent. So smiley faces
Yeah.
with that. Okay, bathrooms.
Didn't go in there.
I went in there. They were clean, but they weren't spotless. It wasn't the
Okay.
feeling that you got like when you went into the yard house, everything was so clean it almost looked sterile.
Yeah, but this place was a happening Friday night Saco Bottom location with people coming in and out and drinking a lot.
Right.
I think.
So it was clean considering that, but it wasn't you kind of went in there and it wasn't like the completely spotless feeling you would hope to
Okay,
have.
so
But
average.
it was all
Okay.
right. It gets a smiley face. It wasn't terrible. All right, last thing, accessibility to other tourism spots.
Edgar Allan Poe Museum was right there. No one
was.
told me. Where was that at?
We drove by it when we were parking.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
You don't remember the jokes about the Raven and Nevermore?
Oh, okay. Maybe I did. Okay, I was driving. Was I? No, Richard was driving that night. Okay.
It
James
was-
River Canal tours.
It was near quite a few things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the James River Canal tours, Edgar Allan Poe Museum,
Holocaust Museum.
Holocaust Museum, and a Valentine Sculpture Museum. So there's some things to do. It's one of those things that you
Little-
can incorporate it
little
along
shops,
with
yeah.
a tourist activity, and then
It was a nice little area.
yeah.
Richmond itself, I would definitely go back to. We didn't even touch on
We didn't.
the historicness other than the canal tour.
It was good. We'll have to revisit Shockoe Bottom. But for now, what do you think about the Tap House? What are you going to give it? Go ahead.
I'm
It's
going to give it
okay.
a smiley because I had fun
Yeah.
and the food was okay.
Yeah. I'm giving it a smiley as well, but it is because we had fun. The service was
Service lacked immensely.
not. But,
I did tip
but
them
we
because I
just
felt
had so
bad.
many good jokes over it.
Yeah.
So
Well, jokes, good times, good
It
memories.
turned out all right. Okay, we need to quickly shift back to our anxiety trigger conversation.
Ooh, okay.
Getting back to that number 5, no sleeping before you even start the trip, and then it carries over.
Yeah, is that you?
That is me. That causes a lot of anxiety.
Are you a last minute? You don't prepare ahead of time, or you're doing last minute stuff at home?
I don't have my act together, folks. Surprise, surprise. So a lot of times on these trips, I am packing and preparing at the very last minute. We've got a trip coming up this Friday. We're traveling to New Jersey, and my friend asked me this morning, "What time is your plane leaving on Friday?" I have no flipping clue. I don't know because I am on Wednesday, and I won't know that until Thursday night at 11:30 p.m. when I sit down and can think about that. So, mine is last minute. I'm packing, till really late in the evening, if I sleep at all, because I'm trying to get ready at the last minute. And then when I actually get on the plane, I'm tired. You don't sleep that well on the plane. And then it carries over for the whole trip, and that produces a lot of anxiety, not sleeping. It's a problem I have.
It does. Mine is for a different reason. No sleep before I start usually is because I'm not preparing myself. I'm preparing my family for while I'm gone. Because I'm leaving, because if we're doing little trips like this and I'm not taking anybody, I feel the need to prepare, at least give them lists. There's the food that's in the house. This is what you got to do. This is what you don't do, with the kid, with the girls.
Yeah.
Calvin, not so much,
And
just so he
it
knows where
leaves
he's got
you
to be.
with very few hours to sleep
Yeah.
before you have to get up the next morning and be at the
What's
At
the
the
next one?
airport.
Money. What do you use? How much do you spend? Tolls, foreign exchange.
Yeah, that's an
tip
anxiety
money.
trigger. I'm going to let you handle that one because
That's an anxiety for you?
no, it's not an anxiety for me. Usually,
Well,
I just use my credit card and deal with it later.
Deal with it later. I want to be prepared. If I know I'm going to be driving in a rental car, I want to make sure I have money for tolls. I want to make sure I have cash for tips if I don't want to add it to the, to the check that way, or cash to leave in the hotel room for the rooms, the people that take care of our room, because I think they deserve a tip too. So I usually leave a couple dollars there. So, money or their lack of, I worry about, am I taking enough? Or will I have,
And again, yours is just preparation, probably, seeing what you're going to need,
Yeah.
allotting that and bringing
setting it
along.
aside, yeah.
All right, number 2, sticking to the itinerary. That can be anxiety producing sometimes. When we go on
Did you
these
guys
trips,
skip the worried about loved ones?
Oh, we did.
We don't worry about them anymore.
You don't care. You're just like, forget it. Too much
three.
I
anxiety.
do worry about
Good call,
that. That
Rhino.
is a big one for me. While I'm
That
on the
is.
trip, not so much getting ready, but when I'm on the trip,
The cats.
and family too. I know it's shocking.
Thought Klaus was number one.
Klaus is at the top, but coming in a close second are the girls, or my husband's in there too. I worry about things like, gosh, I hope Stella got to school in time. Or one time 2 trips ago, I came home and nobody had given the cats, put fresh water in their water fountain. So it was like they have a multi-sided water fountain where they get their water, like a chocolate fountain at a restaurant or something. And nobody had refilled the water. So there was very little in there. And that kind of freaked on them. And then so this last trip I was stressing about it. Oh gosh, I hope, and not the fact that they're not going to get water, because they can get water in other places in the house, but the fact that it's going to burn out that freaking motor on the fountain if there's no water in there to pump,
Right.
So that stressed me out. Ooh, things like that stress me out. And just, hope they're, all the things that I normally do that I leave to other people at home, that stresses me out,
Yeah.
because they're not gonna do it as good as I do it, or they're not gonna do it in a timely manner, right?
Well, I know that you have anxiety about that type of stuff. You get anxiety about people not decorating the Christmas tree the way that you would decorate the Christmas tree.
Just to tell that.
We'll wait till December to talk about that one.
Eli's
But-
like that.
Mine is a little bit different. I don't necessarily have anxiety so much about leaving people behind, because I'm always leaving my kids with somebody that I know is very capable, whether it be my parents or their dad.
Okay, well, you made
or-
me sound like my
No.
husband's not capable. He's
No.
not, but
Well, I don't know. Maybe I just let that go a little bit easier. Plus, my kids are very independent. And they
Right.
actually, like, when my parents take care of them, I'm not worried about my parents, forgetting to take them somewhere or whatever, because my kids are very proactive and, be mom,
Right.
pop, you need to make sure that you have me to school in 20 minutes. So
Right.
do you have your shoes on and are you ready to go? Like, my kids are running the show when somebody's taking
Right.
care of them. I'm okay with all that. I get a little bit of anxiety about falling behind on my communication with people. I still try to keep up with keeping in touch. I keep up with quite a few friends and my children, and sometimes it gets to be a bit much. And then when we go on these trips and we're visiting with other people, and your time is taken up by the job, and then as well as the socializing, and I can't respond to people right away. I find that even when they're very understanding about that type of situation, I have anxiety about it. Like, well, I'm not getting back to them. What if they're waiting for an answer, or do they feel like I'm ignoring their needs? Or
now, see, if I'm on a trip, I would the trip that we just took, and I would lump that into it's people that are listening to this aren't going to be looking at it from our angle, right? So just blanket over stress about leaving what you're leaving, who you're leaving behind, and what you're leaving behind. In general, when I go on any kind of trip, I'm going to tell everybody ahead of time. Like my sister, hey, you might not get, if I'm out of touch
Yeah.
this weekend, don't worry about it. I'm out of town. or I'm on a trip. Or the
I
same with
need
my
to be
parents.
more like that. And it's not so much that the people that I'm telling have issue with it. It's that I personally have
Right.
the issue with it. And I need to make sure that I need to work on having myself be okay with, it's okay to put this to the side for now and come back to that when
Right.
there's time to
Oh, it
address
definitely
it.
is, because you can't do it all. I figured that out early
Yeah.
on. You can't have all the balls in the air when you're on one of these trips. You have to set, or any kind of trip, whether it's vacation, when you're on vacation, it's okay to set the ball down and put it in the closet and tell the sister or whoever it may be, hey, I'm out of town.
Yeah,
Pity,
good
pity
words.
poo, pity poo.
All right, number 2, sticking to the itinerary. I actually find this sometimes, depending on the itinerary, a little bit anxious. I get anxiety about it. So this was one of the wonderful things about this trip that we recently just had in Richmond. We go to these functions regularly where there's a lot of fundraising that we do, and then meeting with a lot of people. And not a lot of times, but sometimes the itineraries get really packed because people are expecting us to come in, and then they want to make sure that we're entertained and not bored. But sometimes it can be really exhausting. You're running from activity to activity to activity. And I think that it sometimes it makes it difficult to stick to the itinerary, especially when you're like me and you're already tired from not sleeping the night before. So I find I get anxious about this, like, I can feel myself getting more tired, and yet it's, I still need to make sure that I'm being friendly and, having enough energy to talk with people and keep up with the activities and
that stresses you out.
still sound intelligent, when I'm speaking. It stresses me out a little bit.
Okay, well,
I like it when we have downtime so that I can kind of recoup.
Well, I like
and then
that.
stick to the itinerary.
I like that on all travel aspects. You got to have downtime, whether
Yeah.
it's a family trip, a weekend trip, a business trip. There needs to be downtime. But I'm okay with an action. I mean, I like it. I like that there is an itinerary. Mm-hmm. Whether I'm going on a trip for vacation with the family or on a business trip, I like an itinerary. I want to stay busy, but like you said, you do have to have a little downtime.
I felt like we had that perfectly in Richmond.
Yeah, Richmond had
It was a nice pace. There was a good bit to do at regular intervals, and yet we had enough time in between to actually socialize and talk with people, rather than being.
You need to work that into any trip.
Yeah,
you got to have downtime.
And we had time to recoup from the exhaustion of just plain traveling. So it was good. It was good. Last one.
Yeah.
Anxiety trigger often sharing a hotel room.
Is this a problem for you?
Other than the
Because you're
Arctic
sharing
temperatures.
with me on these trips.
other than the Arctic temperatures that our room is kept at. No, I love rooming with you. You know that.
There's no anxiety there?
No, I actually look forward to rooming with you. But it can be an anxiety trigger depending on who you're rooming with. Sometimes rooming with your family is.
Oh gosh,
you
yeah.
get a lot of stress from that.
This is where it turns on me, and I'm stressed rooming with you or Kathy in the aspect that certain habits that I have or things that I do is not necessarily something I want.
Me to witness.
Yeah.
Well, that's not an issue for me.
Okay, I snore.
But you are stressed about that.
I do stress about that. I stress about I do snore, and I know I snore because I wake myself up. I hear myself. I know we can be having a conversation and I pass out.
You do that.
And Kathy's always told me, now you've confirmed this. We'll be sitting there talking, and I will totally go into a deep sleep and wake up and continue the conversation.
You do this.
It's a gift.
You will fall asleep almost mid-sentence sometimes, wake up 10 minutes later, and completely pick back up in the middle of the sentence where you left off. And by that time, I'm falling asleep.
Right.
So
it's a gift. And it bothers me that I do that. And I do it, and maybe it's because I'm always tired because I'm always doing too much. But I don't know. But I mean, it's just, I've been that way my whole life. So that stresses me out that I do things like that. And I don't want to do things like that. But and sharing a bathroom and all of that with someone you don't
Sure.
normally, that can be stressful.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
But
get that.
I think you just got to get into a routine or have not ground rules, but you have to know, okay, I'm going to do the bathroom first. You do this, you do that.
Yeah, I think that you've handled it beautifully. I mean, for example, the first time we ever roomed together was when we went on the cruise, correct?
I think it was, yeah.
And you immediately addressed the situation when we met up the morning before we embarked.
I
And you
did.
came to me and you said, I have a gift for you. And I said, you have a gift for me? You said, yes. It's like consider it a travel gift. The gift was a packet of earplugs.
Oh,
So
You
that
need them.
so that I wouldn't hear her snoring when she's sleeping, which is never. I don't sleep with the earplugs. It's not an issue for me. But that was perfect. You just addressed it right
Yeah.
up front, got it out in the open, and everything was fine. I think maybe that's a key for these types of anxiety type of situations when you're rooming with
You need to
someone.
address
You
it.
either have to be with somebody that you are comfortable exposing certain habits that you have to, that you feel safe with, or just address it and communicate about it up front. Hey, guess what? I do this, so you're going to have to live with it for the couple days.
Message me if you want Jenny Lynn's weird habits. And I'll tell you. No, there is none.
And with that, we're going to be closing out the show for today. I
hope I didn't offend anybody. And I want to thank Melissa again for an awesome Richmond
Yes,
weekend.
we
And
had a great
was,
time.
It was so much fun. And it's all good and good fun.
Yeah, we had a great
Everything
time.
was perfect. Absolutely perfect.
And even though our server was a mess, we got some really good laughs out of it.
We did. And good food. So
Yeah.
good times.
So, and the truth is, if you can't laugh about the stresses of life, then you're going to have a rough trip. So, stay tuned for next week.
It was deep.
I know, I'm profound.
Gosh, it was deep. Can I put that on a
We'll make t-shirts.
sticker t-shirt?
We'll
Yeah.
make t-shirts. Okay. Yeah. So stay tuned for next week when we'll have the next episode of The Trip. And with that, trip out.
So
What are we doing, Tess?
we spent the evening dining downtown Richmond in this historic place called Shockoe Bottom.
And this spurred on a very...
I need to know where the word Shockoe came from, Shockoe Bottom. I cannot sleep until I figure out where Shockoe Bottom came from. There's Shockoe Bottom and there's Shockoe Slip. Shockoe Slip must be a little up a piece from Shockoe Bottom. Shockoe.